Hi, I'm Jonathan, and this is Inversions Splits. It builds upon the skills from previous videos, so those were baseline inversions and tap. It does not require the ability to do the full splits. I'm the best example of that. I just do the best I can. I can't come anywhere near doing the splits like some of you. So my splits is at 90 degrees versus the 180 that some people have. Sometimes if I'm feeling in the mood, I can get to about 98 degrees. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. The splits version, though, teaches counterbalance and ultimately control, especially that initial moment that you hop up. You can use the splits to control yourself and then bring your legs together. So we're just at the point where we're just trying to find the control. And of course, going over the big three as we normally do. So that being headstand, handstand, and forearm stand. And when we get to the point where we'll practice it a bit, I'll give you about a minute in each exercise. So there's about 4 exercises for each of those big three. So that'll be about 12 minutes of extra playtime. And I just set the watch and go from there. So we'll just jump right into it with the warm-up. The first position is plank pose, everyone's favorite. Just step your feet back, have your hips about the same height as your shoulders. Actively push your hands down and keep your arms straight. So especially in a position like handstand, you can learn the difference of how efficient it is. If you bend your elbows a little bit here in plank pose, you'll quickly panic. The same is true in handstand as well. So you're going to be more efficient if you push your arms straight and actively push your hands down, holding strong. Take one last deep breath in. And then on an exhale, push back for downward facing dog. So I forgot to mention, of course, it's pretty important to be near a wall unless you're on the high intermediate side or even advanced side. And it can be, especially at this beginning here, useful to start with your back to the wall as I am. So here in downward facing dog, push the hands down, then lift your right leg up. If you got the wall behind you, even push your foot into the wall so you can actively stretch the leg straighter as you push your arms forward. And then feeling a stretch through the back of your left leg. Push. This is going to be a shape and position that we'll come back to over and over again throughout this little series. And then lower your foot down and switch sides. Lift your left leg up, push your arms straight, push your standing leg straighter, push your foot into the wall. Make sure you clean your feet first. You don't have dark, dirty feet that are then going on a nice, pristine white wall, especially if you live with someone and be like, hey, why are there footprints on the wall? Okay, and then lower your foot down. Move your hands back about halfway towards your feet. And then this initial inversion is going to be just step one foot up to the height of your hips on the wall, push into the wall, and then lift your other leg up as well. So it's leg straight, feet at about the height of your hips. It can help to just look to the wall instead of look towards the space between your hands. It's just a little easier on the neck. And then this one isn't going to be a long hold. Just lower your feet down, then place your hands to your knees and slowly rise up to stand. Coming all the way to stand tall, lift your right leg, hold on to your knee, and then hold under your thigh. Drop the weight of your leg into your hands. Move your hips back. Even bend your standing leg just a little bit so you require more strength, and then push your lifted leg straighter. Final stage of the pose is no support at all. You can either cup the back of your head, or you could go into a prayer position and lift your hands a little higher, or you could reach your arms straight up with your palms facing up as well. What do all of those three have in common? And then lower your foot and switch sides. If you haven't figured it out, those are the inversion positions. Holding onto your knee, then hold under your thigh. Drop the weight of your leg into your hands. Move your hips back. Push your leg straighter. And then from there, option to go arms up into the air and palms face up. Handstand. Hands together, and then just bring the hands a little lower, a little bit more forearm standy. or holding the back of your head, headstandy. Okay, and then lower your foot. Keep holding the back of your head, bend your knees, and then tilt forward till your torso's at a 90-degree angle to the floor. And then now from here, bring your hands down. Same thing as we did before. Step your feet up the wall just to the height of your hips. And then from there, push your legs a little straighter. And then don't lift the leg past vertical. Lift one leg up towards vertical. So you're not pushing off the wall. This is purely just getting some idea of what it's like to have your legs separated. And then bring your leg down and then lift your other leg up. And then lower down, bow over your legs, standing forward fold. Distance to be away from the wall here is one leg distance, so you can just step forward. If you need an exact measurement, just stand, lift your leg, foot to the wall. That's one leg distance. It's a bowed in position. And I'm going to use blocks in a few of these warm-ups just because I like having blocks. But lift your left leg back so that you can get your foot to the wall with your legs straight for standing splits pose, and then bow in. And I'm happy to just have my leg be about 90 degrees or maybe 98 degrees. Some of you might be able to take the leg up a little bit higher. Try not to go too high. We'll still have an opportunity to go a bit further in a moment. And then now lift for a halfway lift position. And then next stage is rise up for warrior three. Not a long hold. You can turn your palms to face forward, the front of your mat, away from the wall. And then touch your hands down. Lower your left foot. Immediately lift your right leg. Push your foot into the wall. Thank goodness. It's a lot easier now when you had to do warrior three position. There's no freebies on this one. We're just really warming up the body and getting ourselves set up. And then lift for the halfway lift position, pause, or rise up all the way. You could bring arms alongside you or cup the back of your head. Most intense is arms forward, push your lifted leg straighter. I started to cheat a little bit and bend the knee. It's intense. It's hard to talk at the same time. Next time I'm going to tap my head and rub my belly and make it even more difficult. Okay, and then bow in, touch your hands down. Next pose is called Waluman. It's a take on splits pose, Hanumanasana, but at the wall. So lift your left foot up to the wall as you did before, and then bring your hands flat, and then just hop your right foot back towards the wall. Lift your left leg up higher, and then continue that until you get to a point where it's really your max. So some can literally do splits up the wall and have the hands in line with the front foot. I'm a long way from that, as you see, and this is intense enough for me. If I go any further, I can start to hit the notes that only Mariah can hit. To come out, move your hands forward, then just lower your lifted leg a little bit, push off of it, hop forward, and then just continue that. Hands forward, lower your lifted leg a little bit, push and hop forward, and then switch legs. So right leg goes up, pause. It might be good enough just to stay there. Nothing wrong with that. Or hop the left foot in, walk the hands in, move the right foot up higher, and then again, and again, finding your splits position. If you've done this series a few times now, maybe you're getting better. Maybe you're like me and you're aging and you're just trying to maintain what you got. Because if you don't use it, you might lose it. Move your hands forward, lower the front foot, the upper foot, and then push the front foot forward, and then just slowly come down. Next one's a fun one. Just lower onto your knees. It may help to have a little bit of padding, a pillow, or a blanket, a towel. I know it as Ninja Death is my favorite name for it. Some call it King Arthur's chair, but just from all fours position, move your left knee back to where the wall and the floor meet, and then move your hands over to the left to then step your right foot forward a bit. And for some, you'll get to this position and just be like, so just stay there. Some even are just in this position, and that's enough of a stretch. Others, though, it's pretty easy. Just rise up, hands to the front thigh, and then even move the hips back, move the shoulders back, and you may feel a pretty good stretch through the front of your thigh. Breathe deep. Try to find an element of relaxation in the intensity. I think it's called ninja death because you need a ninja's like patience, skill, and agility to hold the position. And then switch sides. So jump switch, or just lower your right knee, step your left knee forward, and then bring your right knee back. Move your hands over to the right, and then step your left foot forward. And then from there, rise up. Place your hands to your front thigh, move your hips back, move your shoulders back. Again, just stay in the same stage as you did on the first side, or maybe notice if this side you're a little more flexible. In this case, I'm a little less flexible, a little bit tighter in the psoas hip flexor muscles here, which is another word for just being a little bit stronger. Stronger right leg. It's the leg I write with when I'm writing my signature and have to use my leg. Okay, and then lower your hands down, lower your front knee down. Take your left foot so it's actually up against the wall, and then extend your right leg forward. And you're welcome to just go into half splits here, or push your leg towards fuller splits. So it's not a practice of doing the splits. It's not 45 minutes building up to splits. I like having 2 blocks just to stay a bit more upright. And as you can see, I'm not getting all the way into splits. The nice thing about having the wall behind is you have something to push to, and it's also functional because we are going to go upside down and try to touch the wall in about that position or that position or that position. Okay, and then switch to the other side. So right foot at the wall, left foot forward. I'm just going to switch positions just so that you see I'm not even close to splits, and that's okay. Splits pose became my go-to pose. It was in 2012. I was going to make splits the year that I do the splits. And then what ended up happening was I started to pull the back leg, and on the flexible side it would start to hurt, and it would get worse and worse and worse. And then something clicked in my head, which was like, maybe I should stop the thing that's making it worse. And the reality is you just may not ever have the flexibility that some people have. Okay, that's a pretty good warm up. Nicely done. So we'll go through examples. I'll give you some time to work on the pose that you want to go on, and then we'll just go again and again and again. So first one, it's always nice to just have the wall behind you. For everyone, these are skill development series. It's going to be headstand, and then what you're going to do in headstand is go up, but then extend your left leg up, but keep your right leg down, and then pause and hold for about a minute. So making a 90-degree angle. And that's it. Simple as that. So set yourself up, and timer begins. So right leg stays down, left leg lifts up. And of course you can go into the pose, up into headstand, and then bring one leg down. So the point isn't to have both legs up. That's eventually where we go with headstands, but we're skill developing. And the reason being that headstand is a lot easier to find that position and balance than it is in handstand or forearm stand. So we use the tools and shapes in headstand to then influence how controlled we are in the other inversions. So actively push down with your forearms, about 20 more seconds. Again, the timer is arbitrary. I say this every time. Your body isn't. It's just a number. It's just the amount of time that you have to practice it before we go to the other side. Last 5 seconds, which means you don't have to hold it. And take a rest as needed, whether that's child's pose, pausing the video, come down, get yourself ready for the second set. An extra option on this one is to go up, maybe be just a little bit away from the wall, but go up and have the one leg lead the way to begin with. So I'll show that one. So this time it's going to be the right leg up, and then I just float up from there and then pause and hold, and then a minute. And then I even tap the wall. So it's nice to just know that it's there. But then when you get better, you have the wall behind you, but you don't use it. You do your best not to touch it. Okay, so next minute begins. Way to go. So some need to lean forward and lift both legs up at the same time, or tuck the knees in to get into headstand. Try your best to just go up with one leg at a time. There's folks who can do that in handstand and forearm stand as well. If you can't do it in headstand, there's no chance that you can do some of these other inversions with those techniques. Headstand is just the benchmark, the baseline for a lot of stuff, just because it's more steadier on your head and your forearms. So last 20 seconds or so, stay fixed, keep the legs in opposition. So about 90 degrees. 90 degrees is just a square angle. So having one leg vertical, one leg horizontal, and then just pausing and holding that position, staying steady, nothing more. Purely about skill development. Headstand's easiest. And then slowly come down, take a break, and the next one, the maximum that you can go away from the wall is the length of your legs. So here I am with my legs straight, and then I might even use a benchmark. So the block, I'll just put it where my hips are, and then that would be the furthest I would put my head away from the wall for this exercise. Not necessarily the best idea to go furthest away. If you're confident, go halfway. If you're unsure, just go maybe 10-15 centimeters away from the wall. So I'll show about halfway and then put my head down there. So instead of 90-degree angle, we're going to open the legs up. So I'll go left leg lifts, and then I don't hop, I just float up, and then I let the left leg actually go back and past to the wall, and that's pretty easy for me. So I'm pretty controlled here in keeping the right leg low, learning to counterbalance. Okay, your minute starts right now. Get yourself ready. If you can do this in the middle of the room, go for it. I'll do a quick demo of the middle of the room if you want to see that. Gives you a bit more freedom. It runs the risk of flipping over though, so keep the one leg low as you take the other leg up and over, and then try to stay steady and light. Way to go. Halfway through it now. So just experiment, see where you're at. If you got to come down, come down. Actively push down with the forearms. How far can you get the splits? I actually feel it's a little bit easier upside down because you don't have the pressure of your weight going down into your inner groins. You have a little bit more freedom to open to the capacity. And last 5 seconds. And then come down, and I still have my block about where I said the max was. I'm pretty confident I don't go over. It's been about 10 or 11 years since I went over, and I did a tuck and roll. I rolled over my fingers. I thought I broke every finger, so I just don't fall over anymore. But if you're not 99, if you're only 99.9% sure that you can hold it, then be close enough to the wall. You have to be 100%. 100%. So what that looks like is here, and then right leg up, and then I float up. I keep the left leg low. I start to search with the right leg up and over. Ooh, even I got a little bit scared there. I'm like, I'm supposed to be there. And then I can go full stretch. So I think I'm in a perfect straight line with my legs. It's probably not even close. Nick Lachey would measure it out to be 98 degrees, and that's as far as I go. Okay, last minute. Give it a go. Again, if I'm pretty confident, I'm like 100% solid. I got still a little scared just because it's that moment of threshold to go to the full length of my leg. So just be careful. Actively push down with the forearms. Push down with your head. Make your neck long. Push the legs in opposition to each other. This one's got 30 more seconds. So dig deep. Again, you could try away from the wall and just counterbalance by opening the legs a little bit wider, a little bit wider. Eventually, of course, there's splits where you go out to the side, or you could start to helicopter your legs. We'll save that one for another time when you get a little bit more confident holding in the middle of the room. Last 10 seconds before we go to handstands. And then slowly now come down, take your rest, whether that's child's pose, kneeling, even standing, giving your arms a shake, moving your head a little bit from side to side. So then same idea here. It's going to be going through those 4 things in handstand. Probably not going to be able to float up. Some might, but you'll probably have to hop up. So I'll show that one here. One option is to start from a standing position, and then in this case it'll be the left leg that goes up into the air and the right leg stays horizontal. So I use that to then hop up and then hold here and try for 1 minute holding. Another option is just to start in a modified shorter down dog position, lift a leg up, and then hop up there. Okay. So 1 minute begins. Set yourself up. So if you did tap tap the previous inversion, it was to just hop up again and again, tapping the wall, tapping the wall, tapping the wall. The first one, baseline inversions, was just holding for a minute. Now we're keeping the shape of the legs from the tap tap version about 90 degrees, hopping up and then trying to hold from there and seeing if you can. And if you're getting pretty solid, keep the legs separated, but then just move your heel a little bit away from the wall. And then you might come down, you have to go back up and just do it again. You got to do that over and over and over again. Some of you are getting really good. Move maybe 10, 15 centimeters away from the wall with your hands. Hop up and try to do the position without actually touching the wall. So you just pause with the legs up in the air. And I'll try to demo that with the second side. So take your break. The break can be nice. It can be just pausing, standing, hands to knees. Where child's pose is a little bit of a downer is that it can diminish the energy a little bit. So switching sides, this time it's the right leg leads, and say I'll be about 30 centimeters, about a ruler distance away, and then trying to hop up and not actually touch the wall. So hop up. Didn't quite hold it, but hop up. There we go. So I haven't touched the wall. Keep one leg down. This is how you start to learn to hold it. Eventually it goes up with control like that, but we're just learning the position there right now. Okay, so second side, hop your way up. Usually you pick and choose your good side to hop first. So this side's going to be humbling. Avoid the temptation to go to the side that you're good at. Stick to this side. Even things out. It's like having twins and only picking one to do all the fun stuff and the other one has to do all the chores. So you got to be a great parent and treat both sides equally and give them the same amount of screen time, same amount of time to tap the wall, and then push your arms straight. Notice if you start to bend your elbows, bending your elbows is just letting go of energy that you need, so don't throw that energy away. Stay solid. Helping to balance is look between the hands. I even look a little bit more towards the side away from the wall, on like the wrist side, just so that I don't overstrain the neck to look forward. Last 10 seconds, if you're holding for that long, way to go. That's a long time, especially if you didn't touch the wall. And then slowly come down. Nicely done. Now, there's still that same measurement of the length of your legs. Again, that's maximum. It is so scary if you've never tried that before. Even now, I look at it, I'm like, oh, I'm so scared. I know I can do it, but it's good to just go maybe half distance or just where you feel comfortable. So I'll go maybe 3/4 of the distance of my legs. And then I'm going to hop up and lead a lot with the left leg. And it's okay if you don't hop up all the way. I'm trying to go with control here. So I hop up, didn't make it, and then hop up, and then I can get all the way back and then hold. And then from there, just stay upwards of a minute, or you could start to just push off a little bit and then try to balance completely using the legs to counterbalance. It's a really great way to learn to hold in the middle of the room. So 1 minute begins, hop your way up. If you don't need the wall, of course, don't use the wall. Face away. This is very similar to what we did too in the warm-up. You could always step up. I don't really offer this too much in a class environment because of the risk of people flipping over accidentally, is to step up and then lift one leg up and over. And people get really zealous and then they push off and then flip over, but that's an accessible way to do it. And of course you can always try in the middle of the room. We'll see how this one goes, to hop up and then let the one leg lead over and then keep the other leg low. It becomes pretty efficient once you have it. Just keep trying. It's as simple as that, just like that. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And then that's a minute, way to go. Whew. And then good news. So I don't think I really need to demonstrate the second side, just giving you a little moment to breathe. And all it is your less dominant leg is the one that's on the ground, and you're hopping up. And you could play with going a little further away, a little closer. You can also play with the idea of hopping up and then almost touching the wall, but not, and opening the legs up. So some of you have the capacity to go full splits. If you do, you might just stay a little bit narrower to try to balance without the wall, or use the wall, go wide. Last minute begins. Give it a go, cheering you on. Great splits work. Hop it up. Try to be light in every hop. It's okay to hop a few times. There's nothing wrong with that. The benefit from hopping 5 times versus 1 time is that you're getting the skill of hopping 5 different times. Push down through the arms. I like to start to look to the horizon, especially if I know I'm using the wall. It's just a little bit easier on the neck, easier to breathe as well. Dig in with your fingers, especially if you're going to move away from the wall. Claw down with the finger pads so that you see the whites of your fingernails, especially if you have a nail polish color on and you normally can't see that. That's how much you have to claw in and dig. Last 10 seconds here. Hold strong. Some of you are already down. Way to go. Honoring your body. Setting up now for the final inversion. So come down, take a rest. I think I talk about it every time with forearm stand. You can go forearms parallel, palms down. Some people go fists, some interlace fingers, some go prayer. Some people can even go palms face up. I think there's even a dance like that you could do. My favorite though, I just pick and choose to do this one. I hold the outside of a block, wrap my fingers around it, and that's just the version that feels the strongest and best for me. So that's why I choose it. When you're using the wall to begin with, it's helpful to be right up against the wall, almost touching with the fingers. And then it's just this exact same 4 things that we do. So the L shape, 90 degrees for the first 2 on each side, and then working towards splits. So just showing that. So it looks like this, where you hop up and then tap the wall and then keep the one leg low. And then this one is more challenging just in terms of the intensity in the shoulders. You're always welcome to give yourself a little bit of a stretch before or after to open up your shoulders. So 1 minute begins. Set yourself up. 1 minute's a long time, especially if you did a minute for all those other inversions. So that'd be 8 minutes already, plus we did a couple of little warm-up inversions as well. So some are pushing at 10 minutes inversions already. So maybe only go up for 20 seconds or 30 seconds. Do as much as is comfortable. Try to keep the split though at 90 degrees. If you're too close and the wall's starting to get into your way, you know, those close talkers that get way too close to you. They start moving in and moving in. You're just like, whoa, man, stay back, give me some room. Then just move a little bit away from the wall. It's actually nice to have a bit of space. Like I wouldn't go that close to the wall because I don't need the wall. But sometimes it's nice to know that the wall's behind me. But that actually is way too close for me. Last 9 seconds, setting yourself up for the rest. And then I'll just demonstrate the second side. And I'll be a bit further away from the wall on this one. And then it's the hop up, and then the control, and hold. And then once you have the control, then it's just easy to go up like that, but keeping the split. Okay. And hop away. 1 minute begins. If you're starting to hold it and not touch the wall and hold it for 1 minute, you're pretty well graduated to the point where like you can do this in the middle of the room. So I learned forearm stand before I learned handstand. It was a teacher visiting from Sweden who pulled me aside and was like, you can do handstand, but you're very complacent. And that's all he said to me. And I didn't understand, but I then, when I did forearm stand, I understood because I'm very controlled in forearm stand. So just showing a bit more of a side view of this one where I would go up and then pause and hold forearm stand with control and then go up. So there's no complacency. Just seeing where we're going to go, which is more of a splits version like that. I have some students who then just tuck the chin in a bit and flip over. I'd be joining my friends at the emergency room if I went for the flipped over version, so not necessarily the safest. Okay, 2 more minutes to go. Take a rest. Nicely done. So this one is measuring the length of your leg. Again, probably not a good idea to go full length on the first go. Maybe go half length, just showing what that looks like. That's pretty controlled for me. Specifically though, it's about where your elbows are, because your elbows, your shoulder, so it's not where your hands are, it's where your elbows are. So just be very careful that you don't put your hands there, because that's actually, you need longer legs for that one. So seeing it here, hop up. Yeah, I can hold it, but the point is to see what the max is. So it wasn't that much further. And then you can also even bend this lower leg like that instead. Okay, and that actually is a bit too close for me. That's pretty easy. Okay, 1 minute. Give it a go. We're almost done. Way to go. Good work. I like this style of setup because it's nice to just have the time to actually practice and do it. If I just showed you 5 or 6 different ways, then you might like do 1 or 2 of them afterwards. So it just gives you a little bit of the time to actually incorporate it and give it a go. I can focus on my cheering, which is like, way to go, great job, best one I've seen. Oh, that was well done. There's room for improvement. Not looking good at all, I'm sorry. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. Does anyone remember that show? What a strange show that was. Anyways, you're doing great. We're down to the last 10 seconds. The final one is really just going to your weaker side, maybe going a little bit longer. I'll try going a little bit longer. It's especially on my weaker side. I rarely jump in the middle of the room on my weaker side. Just the confidence isn't as strong as my good side. So weaker side would be right leg up in the air. So then I hop. And then I take the leg over. I think that the wall should be there. And then if you point, you can touch it earlier. If you bend the knee a little bit, you can actually go a little further in. So I know I've got it there. I'm good. And then I could even rest the head a little bit. I've got the advantage of long upper arms that I can let my head tuck in like that. If you want to see that, my elbow is way above the top of my head. Not my hair, but the crown of the head right there, where some people's elbows are actually the same height as their head. So if that's the case, it's going to be harder to tuck your chin in because you just end up in headstand. Last minute, this is it. Give it a go. and do your best. And just notice if that splits thing is working for you. For a lot of people, it is a gateway into balancing in the middle of the room. So you're counterbalancing, you're finding control, specifically the control on your forearms. When it was handstand, it was the control with your fingers and your wrists holding you into it. But extending the legs in opposite direction, kind of like a tightrope walker goes side to side, you're going front to back that way. And a really useful way to balance and hold the position. Last 20 seconds or so. You're welcome for a nice long Shavasana or a nice long child's pose. You can always have a nice hot bath with Epsom salts and Kenny G, or just an entire tub of ice cream, whatever you want. Last second, make your way down. Great work. Take a rest. Keep on going upside down. And of course, if you're going to have a lot of ice cream, then go for a banana split. Ooh, poor way to finish. Namaste.